So now that the NHL awards are done with, all the focus is heading to Vancouver, where this year's NHL Entry Draft will be held, with a lot of great talent available in this year's draft. Let's take a look at what may be happening. A little bit of a preview, I guess you could say, of the 2019 NHL Entry Draft. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. And let's take a look at the final rankings for this year's entry draft. Alright, so we're going to do a rundown of 1 to 15 on where these guys will be drafted and player comparables to the NHL right now. So, taking a look at the New Jersey Devils with the first overall pick, they will be drafting centerman Jack Hughes. So I think this is a no-brainer. And Kaapo Kakko has done a pretty good job at keeping things close between him and Hughes, but I think this will be Jack Hughes. Devils are able to solidify that center spot. You got Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes down the middle. That's almost like Malkin Crosby level, possibly. So really unbelievable. This is a great tandem for the New Jersey Devils moving forward. Travis Zajak's getting older. He shouldn't be in the top 6, so this will move him down. And this gives a chance for the Devils to really bolster up their center group. His comparable is to Patrick Kane. A really swift skater, great stick handler, really reads the ice extremely well, knows where his teammates are around, and he's very creative with the puck, as is Patrick Kane. Taking a look at the second overall pick, I believe the New York Rangers will be drafting. No surprises here yet. Right winger Kaapo Kakko. He's a Finnish guy, led the Finnish team to a world championship in the spring. Unbelievable season for him. He has been an unbelievable player. He has a lot of scoring talent, and he is going to be a pretty good player in the NHL. Comparable to him are Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche. Really great comparable. I definitely could see that being a fit. He has such a great shot. His release is so quick. He has great skating ability, and he's pretty mature for his age. He's been playing with men for a while now, and he seems to be ready for the NHL. That's the next spot for Kaapo Kakko. Third overall, the Chicago Blackhawks, I believe, will be drafting the hometown kid, the centerman Alex Turcotte, an American. He is from Chicago, so he has connections there. Grew up a Chicago Blackhawks fan. This seems like a no-brainer here, in my opinion. His comparables, he could be a player like Patrice Bergeron, a great two-way center. Great defensive player, could be in the nomination for trophies like the Selke for his defensive play. Has great skill, he can score, he can put up points, and he's probably a safe bet that he will be an NHL player. Now taking a look at number 4, the pick that fell in the laps of the Colorado Avalanche and the Matt Duchene trade from the Ottawa Senators. So originally this was Ottawa's draft pick, but it is now Colorado's. So the Colorado Avalanche, I believe, will be drafting our first Canadian, centerman Kirby Dach. Great player, pretty big guy, and he is a comparable to Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets, so a good comparable there. He could be a pretty good first liner, could be a second liner. Definitely a top 6 center in the NHL. A lot of potential from this kid, and he seems pretty much ready to go. Okay, so now looking at number 5, we have the Los Angeles Kings, and we are going to have our first defenseman come off the board. And I believe that's going to be left-handed shot defenseman playing with the Vancouver Giants of the WHL, defenseman Bowen Byram. Canadian kid, really great smooth skater. Had a couple of injury issues this past couple of years. Unbelievable player, can really read the ice well. Very mature for his age, and he seems ready for the NHL in the next 1 or 2 years. The comparable that was given is probably a guy like Morgan Riley. Top 2 defenseman, can shoot, can score with that puck, and he knows what to do. He can move the puck around. He's he fits the new mold of today's NHL. You don't have to just be a big defenseman that stops people coming in. He can also force the offense as well. At 6, we have the Detroit Red Wings. Steve Yzerman's first draft pick with the Red Wings will be at number 6, and I believe they're going to do kind of what they did last year. It's take a player that maybe you wouldn't expect them to take, or a guy that's fallen in the rankings. Last year was Joe Veleno and Philip Zadina. And this year I believe it's going to be right wing Russian guy. So our first Russian off the board, Vasily Podkolzin. His comparable could be up to Vladimir Tarasenko, who just won a Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. So pretty high praise from the scouting staff around the NHL for Vasily Podkolzin. Now there are some issues with Podkolzin. He has come out and said he doesn't want to play in the NHL for another 1 or 2 years, so he's going to continue playing in the Continental Hockey League, the KHL, over in Russia. Originally, back in probably November, December, it was Jack Hughes, Capo Caco, and Vasily Podkolzin. Since then, he's definitely dropped off down to 10 in some drafts, but I have him going here at 6. So we'll see what happens there with Podkolzin. He's going to be a wild card pick for whoever ends up drafting him, but we'll see what happens. Number 7, we have the Buffalo Sabres drafting left wing Matthew Boldy of the USHL. So he's been playing in the United States Hockey League development system. Comparable to him, he could be a player like Jamie Benn. So a power forward kind of guy. He can shoot the puck, put up points, and the Buffalo Sabres definitely not, not that they have issues in terms of wingers, but we just saw how desperate they kind of were in bringing in a guy like Jeff Skinner for $9 million. Matthew Boldy will hopefully bring a big force, a big presence to the Buffalo Sabres, and could be kind of a leader, because Jamie Benn is a leader on the Dallas Stars, has been the captain of the team. Maybe Matthew Boldy can help with the Buffalo Sabres. Looking at number 8, we have the Edmonton Oilers drafting centerman Peyton Krebs. Unbelievable player. His comparable is to Dylan Larkin. And it may be interesting that I have the Oilers drafting a center, but you never know what happens. And I'm saying that because we don't know what's going to happen. Who knows, with the expansion draft, or, you don't know. You never know what can happen. If they ever traded Nugent Hopkins or Draisaitl, he could definitely be a good second, third line center, if not a top line center. Now, obviously, with McDavid possibly being in Edmonton, he probably wouldn't be the first line center, but you can never have enough talent, and especially down the middle, such a valuable spot. Probably a good pickup for the Edmonton Oilers. At number 9, we have the Anaheim Ducks, and I have the Anaheim Ducks drafting centerman Trevor Zegras of the USHL, the U.S. development system. And the comparable for Trevor Zegras, a pretty big one, Mitch Marner. Now, Zegras could be going as soon as in the top 5 in some rankings I saw. Some had him going at possibly 3 before Turcotte. But I have him going at 9 just because of teams may be a little bit more willing to draft for position. Now, as I just said, Edmonton seems to be an exception just because they need as much value as they can get. But I feel like the Anaheim Ducks, if you have a guy like Kessler moving out, Getzlaf moving on, you have some holes there in the top 6. Trevor Zegras could be an addition in the next 1 or 2 years for the Anaheim Ducks. So that could be a pretty big pickup for the Anaheim Ducks. All right, so looking at the number 10 draft pick, and this pick will probably be moved either to move up or down in this year's draft, because they are hosting this year's NHL Entry Draft, the Vancouver Canucks, at number 10. If the Canucks were to keep this pick, I believe they should be drafting centerman Alex Newhook. Now, this is another American kid, USHL, unbelievable talent. Again, this is another guy. I have him going at 10, but he could go in the top 5 as well. That is how good this player could be, as well as Trevor Zegras. Really, you never have enough centers, and I feel like you have Brock Besser for the Vancouver Canucks, and we aren't sure with Elias Pettersson just yet if he can play center. Definitely an addition that could be pretty important because we don't know. It doesn't seem like Adam Gaudette can become that top 6 center, and I feel like a guy like Alex Newhook can have that potential. He's comparable to Braden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning, who is going to get paid this summer. So hopefully Alex Newhook it can be a good addition for the Vancouver Canucks. Now taking a look at number 11, I have the Philadelphia Flyers drafting a winger from the USHL. No surprise here. We've seen them draft some big power forward, gritty players in the past, bringing in some guys via trade this summer already. So no surprises here. I'm going with Cole Caulfield. Again, this guy could be going as soon as in the top, 6 or 7 in this year's entry draft. I have him going at 11 to the Flyers because of the identity that the Flyers have and the culture. He seems to fit. A comparable to him is Alex DeBrincat. Speedy guy, a little bit on the smaller side. That doesn't seem to matter much. Unbelievable player. He has the skill. He has great vision on the ice. Going to be a good player wherever he lands. At number 12, I have the Minnesota drafting centerman Dylan Cozens, another American guy, and I could definitely see this being a fit. They just lost Charlie Coyle when he was traded to the Boston Bruins, and I feel like a guy like Dylan Cozens kind of fills that void back that is lost from Charlie Coyle. Comparable to Dylan Cozens is Pierre-Luc Dubois, and there's another guy here in Dylan Cozens. He could be drafted in the top 10. So he's drafted at 12 in my rankings. He could be in the top 10 very easily if things worked out that way. So this will be interesting. And now we have another defenseman here. With the number 13 pick, I have the Florida Panthers. I just have a vision that this seems to work. I had this same weird vision with Nolan Patrick with the Flyers that he would be a Flyer. Again, it's just that identity. It seems like he's just a perfect fit there. I have the Florida Panthers drafting left-handed defenseman, Swedish guy Philip Broberg. Comparable to him is Rasmus Ristolainen, so not too shabby of a comparable. Being compared to a guy like Ristolainen, a great player, he's a little bit inconsistent, but Broberg seems to have the skill. He's dropped a little bit. He was rumored to be going in the top 10. Still could go in the top 10, but he has definitely dropped in the rankings, over the year. So we'll see what happens with Philip Broberg. At number 14, the Arizona Coyotes, I believe, will be taking right shot defenseman, another Swedish defenseman, Victor Soderstrom. He spent time in Liga, the SHL, and he'll be ready to come over probably in the next 1 or 2 years. Comparable to him is Jared Spurgeon of the Minnesota Wild. Again, a guy that brings the puck up, can play both ends of the rink, produces points, creates scoring opportunities for his forwards, able to bring the puck up, and these are the commodities that you're looking for in today's defenseman. At number 15, to cap this off, I have the Montreal Canadiens drafting Canadian center Ryan Suzuki to play with his brother Nick Suzuki, who the Canadiens drafted, I believe, last year or 2 years ago. In the NHL draft. The comparable to him, wait for it, Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders. So a pretty nice comparable there. We're talking about number 15 here in this year's entry draft, and they're comparable to Matthew Barzal. So Ryan Suzuki, I just know from Barzal's game, playmaker, a guy that can move the puck, really deceptive, a great skater, all the qualities you're looking for in today's, in the mold of an NHL center in today's league. So that's my top 15. Just some other notes I have here. Do we see more rights get moved for players this year? We've seen Jacob Trouba get moved for his rights. Um, Kevin Hayes, his rights getting traded for the Flyers. Do we see, maybe not Panarin or Duchesne, but do we see Marner maybe? Do the Leafs say, "Hey, listen, if you're not going to sign with us now, we're gonna trade you." I really wonder if that's a possibility at the draft. I wonder if the draft is the deadline for Dubas, considering what happened last year with Nylander. Something to look at, as well as other players like Brock Besser. Doesn't seem too close with the Vancouver Canucks on a contract. Mikko Rantanen, Patrick Laine, Kyle Connor. These guys could all possibly be available. They are RFAs, and they would probably command a pretty nice price. Nikolai Ehlers. We've heard about Nikolai Ehlers now with Winnipeg for the past couple of days, possibly trying to get a defenseman from the Carolina Hurricanes when talking to Don Waddell, one of Justin Falk, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, Brett Pesce. Timo Meier is an RFA as well in San Jose. Did the Sharks have enough salary cap to keep him? And Shane Gostisbehere possibly leaving the Flyers. We've heard that for a couple of days now. Is there any validity to it? And will he get moved at the draft? As well as the big name, once again, PK Subban is in the rumors of possibly being moved out of Nashville this summer. So we've seen him get moved at the draft before in the Shea Weber trade. Will he be moved again? So thank you for watching this preview of this year's 2019 NHL Entry Draft. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe. Make sure to check out our Instagram at Goal Line Hockey as well. Make sure to check out our other videos as we get ready for free agency, some trades that have been happening, and we're trying to catch up with everything. I've been busy the past couple of days, but getting ready for the NHL Entry Draft, very exciting, and it seems to be a little bit of a weaker class further into the first round, second round, so teams may be looking to move up or move down. So it should be a very interesting draft this year. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.